hasn't materialised. Pat Dobbs very sadly broke an arm at Newmarket at the weekend. Is likely to miss the majority of the rest of the season. A real shame for Pat. Been going really well. We wish him a speedy recovery. Jim Crowley takes his mount on number 3 Fisher, the Richard Hannon horse in the David Barker colours in the opener. Here is the market. Equity Card heads them up at 2-1. Venetian View, who's been well backed all day, 4-1 into 100 to 30. 6-1 for Jack of Diamonds. 15-2 Young Prince. 9-1 Philipstown, along with Malakat Jamal at the same price, and 20-1 bar those. Just looking on the exchange prices, they have Equity Card 3.2, Venetian View 4.8, 7.2 for Jack of Diamonds, and 9.2 for Young Prince. There on the way to post is the market leader, which is Equity Card, who's had 3 runs, I think it is, so far, and has improved probably steadily on all of them, including behind Itasar last time.
Yeah, behind a stablemate, second string, and possibly inconvenienced by going up the far side on a day when it was probably better to come up the middle. The first couple of horses home came up the middle. She ran really well that day. This is the first time in 4 runs that Frankie Dettori gets on board. And you'll see the stablemate in the first colours travelling well itself, coming from a long way back. But in the red cap, the other side with the noseband, is Equity Card. And she shows a bit of foot to put herself into contention for the places. And you'll see I think you'll see what I mean by the 2 horses coming down the outside do best. But she does best of that group racing over towards the far side. And she ought to build on this now. She has shown an improvement with each run. She had a mishap first time at Yarmouth when she swerved. She showed the odd tendencies to just lug left in her last 2 runs, but much more professional last time, I think it's fair to say. And she's got a tricky draw in stall 11, but Dettori has been around here enough times to be able to sort that problem out. And she was very strong in the market this morning. Moved her from 9-4 into something like 13-8, and has drifted steadily in the last half hour, and is now nearly 9-4. So she looks fine. She doesn't look like a big filly, but they'll be glad if they can get a win on the board with her. And it's not the best maiden in the world. The second favourite, I beg your pardon, Venetian View, who showed up quite eye-catchingly over 5 furlongs, and an inadequate 5 furlongs last time, is rated 71. So getting £5, Equity Card, she needs to be a 70 filly to feature, really.
I was a little surprised that we didn't see Venetian View in a nursery, actually. I have to admit, I thought that eye-catching run at Sandown, that's where we'd be looking.
Yeah, I suppose you go to nurseries this time of year, they can be stock full of horses who have got potential to improve a lot, particularly ones stepping up in distance. And here Venetian View, who ran in a fair maiden at Brighton and was running on towards the finish over 7 2 outings ago, very much caught the eye at Sandown. In an ordinary race, it must be said, but clearly Connections thought, well, this maiden, a Class 5 auction race, is not likely to stack up as the greatest race in the world, and it looks like an opportunity for Venetian View to do still better than that form. Another one with a tricky-ish draw in stall 10.
There's a few that are potential improvers. Jack of Diamonds shaped okay at a big price on debut. The stable have been struggling, but a few have been running a little bit better.
I think they haven't had winners, have they, Roger Teal? But he has. That's Jack of Diamonds we're talking about, just going in now. I thought he shaped really encouragingly, except that he hung quite violently away from the whip and then back again the other way and ended up on the stands rail. Lots of signs of greenness. I suppose that means there should be plenty of improvement to come from him. He still finished behind Young Prince on that occasion, who was promising himself, but he'd already had a run which he built on in that race here last time. That was over a mile, dropped back to 7. Can't say Jack of Diamonds looked particularly quick, whereas Equity Card did show a little bit of speed at the end of her race.
And Philipstown's actually rated higher, 75, than Venetian View.
Very
disappointing.
Much longer price. Very disappointing last time, Philipstown, because had run well in a decent race at Newmarket the time before, over 6.
Could you put that down to Brighton?
Perhaps it was Brighton. He never seemed to particularly be going. Richard Hughes takes over this time, so he looks the stable first string ahead of Fisher, certainly on jockey bookings. Well named Fisher, actually, by Jeremy, out of Elfin Laughter. And that is Fine Finale, a Jeremy Gass newcomer, just showing a little bit of greenness at the start.
Any others that's caught your eye? Kelpie Blitz showed a glimmer first up, but I think you're going to be a slow burn.
Yeah, and been off 3 months since, so maybe there's been a problem or two with him. I don't know whether he's been gelded in the interim. I didn't check actually, but Malakat Jamal, I think, is one worth keeping an eye on, who you'd probably say looks as though an extra furlong would help, but she was doing some good work at the end last time. She's better drawn than the principals as well.
Okay, so Fine Finale is just taking a little while to load into the stalls. There are still a handful behind them. Any final thoughts at the prices? Anything make appeal?
Well, Malakat Jamal double figures, I think, possibly worth a small throwaway bet, but it would be no more than that. I think the most likely winner is Equity Card, who's now drifted to 11-4, and I think that's fair.
Okay, so 5-2 Equity Card on the exchanges. Eddie says nearly pushing 3-1 as Venetian View remains solid, and bits of money for Young Prince late on moves him 7-1 on course, but you'll only just match that on the exchanges. So loading up for our first time, so let's cross trackside and get the views of our commentator this afternoon at Kempton. A very good afternoon to Mike Cattermole.
Particularly good 6 furlong handicap coming up later in the afternoon. That's Raffin going in on the far side. Sylvester Kirk's got a couple here, and so too is Richard Hannon, his father-in-law, and one of them is in view now, Fisher. Left a picture there, Malakat Jamal, Jamie Spencer. I wonder how he's feeling today. Always amazes me how they can shrug off the jet lag, these boys. I think we're down to the last two now. Malakat Jamal and Venetian View going in together. They're ready to go here, set, and they're off and racing. Equity Card broke okay. One that didn't, though, was Jack of Diamonds, who's pretty slowly away as they race over 7 furlongs, then heading down the back straight, and the early pace is coming from Young Prince, who strides up well. Equity Card, though, is going with Young Prince, who's a bit fresh on the inside. Philipstown's done well to get across on the outside draw. Raffin is pulling furiously hard. Brown and grey jacket behind them with Malakat Jamal on that one's inside. Next to the rail then the white cap of Don't Tempt Me. Being chased up then by Kelpie Blitz. Poetry Writer maroon jacket is also just making some ground on the outside then of Venetian View. Then comes Fisher with the recovering Jack of Diamonds next. Calculated Risk. Fine Finale is 3 or 4 lengths detached together with Oratrix as the runners turn down towards the home straight, having passed the halfway point. So Young Prince and Sean Levy striding out in front, pressed on the outside by Equity Card with the sheepskin noseband Frankie Dettori. Philipstown is shaken up now by Richard Hughes. Malakat Jamal under pressure behind them. Raffin on the outside, having pulled hard, is asked now for an effort. Trying to stay on behind these is Kelpie Blitz with Venetian View's white colours. They're racing up towards the final furlong here. Equity Card having a great battle with Young Prince. They race up inside the marker. Equity Card wearing down Young Prince. Venetian View is finishing off best behind, though. Equity Card hands and heels. Here's Venetian View with a big thrust on the near side. Venetian View is going to get up possibly, and does so, and beats Equity Card. Venetian View won it. It was tight for third behind them, Philipstown, and they're running on Jack of Diamonds. That one's going in the notebook, and these 4 clear the others.
So Venetian View's been called as the winner at Kempton. Errant has only got up and won narrowly, but that probably doesn't tell the whole story, because the horse's problems were largely of his own making, it has to be said. 100-30, landed a few tasty bets as well, and a few of these catching the eye in the closing stages. Very slow out of the stalls was Jack of Diamonds out of stall number 3. Keep an eye on him in the closing stages, because he runs on well. Early on, keen, Young Prince travels really strongly, and Equity Card's quick to sit outside the leader.
Yeah, so you think Dettori gets the filly in the perfect position. It just took a little bit of time to grasp what was required when he asked her to overtake the long-time leader, Young Prince. And Venetian View, the winner, come from further back. You see mid-division just being niggled along to keep in touch. But I think he was tight for room when he was making his run. I think that's why. I think that's possibly the reason he looked a little bit ungainly, and we'll see that better on the head-on possibly. Philipstown going the wide way and third. Another disappointing run really from him, because he petered out in the closing stages, didn't appear to get the 7 very well. Another eye catcher out the back, red cap, mainly white colours. Keep an eye on that Calculated Risk, who was steadied at the start, crept into the back of the mid-division and She did a little bit, plenty of late work.
Just
finished alongside Malakat Jamal, who's in the side Manana, white with a red sash. But here is where Dettori's just, you're thinking, struggling to get equity card past young Prince, who weakens. Once Tom Queally gets Venetian View rolling, the response is good. He's responded really well. He went on well up the hill at Sandown last time, and the extra 2 furlongs was what he needed.
2 on the head-on, beginning their runs in similar positions are Jack of Diamonds and Calculated Risk. Jack of Diamonds gets the stronger ride of the 2. Yeah, maybe Tom went for a gap that was just as he sent Venetian View into it closed.
It looked like that. He was quick to pull out of that, pull wide of the runner-up, wasn't he?
So a few eye-catching behind. So say, notably Calculated Risk is finished in about 6th or 7th amongst the big prices. And Tom Queally and Hayley Moore. And they'll be delighted with Venetian View. As I say, it caught the eye when running on 3rd last time at Sandown, and has won at 100 to 30, but was available at double that this morning. Equity Card 5 to 2 favoured in 2nd, and Jack of Diamonds, so quite an eye-catching 3rd from a long way back at 6 to 1. I think you mentioned, didn't we, Jack of Diamonds had dropped to furlong from 8 to 7. The return to 8, I think, will certainly suit.
Yeah, and possibly he will be quicker out the stalls would help.
Well,
slowly away, and
that
hampered him, and the winners come from a fair way back, but nothing like as far back as Jack of Diamonds.
So as Venetian View, clocking 0.24 seconds per furlong, has been riding pretty quick. That's the scene at Hamilton. It looks pretty dreek there. 16 runners over 6 furlongs though, so a big field for the boys to digest. 3 minutes to the off.